My name is Puke, and you're watching the 420 roll.
Good morning. Welcome to the Pleasure Saucer.
Always Cry Theater at Private 5.
I live in Swananoa, but I go to Warren Wilson College, and there's no TV exactly where I live.
Ain't
right along with you. What else can a poor boy do? What else can a poor boy do? Rabbit come along, rabbit come along with his mouth full of gold. Don't tell everybody and gone. Tell everybody and gone.
Yep. Hi, my name's Remington Steele, and you're watching the 420 Roll.
Hi.
Patriot Warriors! Patriot Warriors! Patriot Warriors! Patriot Warriors! Seeing your tags on walls kept me up when I was locked down. I broke out to make that revolutionary sound. Now for all you scumbags and goons, to grind to, to ride to. For those laying low, make sure those jakes don't find you. Being locked up ain't a place that you want to be. But if your road leads to prison, then keep your mind free. Even if you're behind bars, freedom comes from your mind. You can be under the stars and still feel behind a cage. Life is a maze, only the strong find the end. I'm traveling through this labyrinth with a pad and a pen. My crew ain't slaves, we snap the necks of our masters. No doubt we're flipping it like 22 chapters. Cause it ain't working, no. Cause it ain't working for us. Cause it ain't working, no. Cause it ain't working for ya. We keep it Y-U-K on the East Tampa Bay. We got them cans in the back for any time we need a spray. Got them blunts rolled with them white owls and the ports, and the coolest they fill with at least 20 quarts. The pound it goes fast, 5 grams at a time. But with me and these dudes, it's going straight to the mine. Money's in our pocket all the damn time, but we don't work for crap. We just can't hold inside. We keep our hands raised when we throwing up our set. Cause we beat for Oxycontin, methadones and Percocet. We do what the heck we want, so leave us alone. And if you wanna talk crap, we're bringing straight to the dome. Cause it ain't working, no. Cause it ain't working for us. Cause it ain't working, no. Cause it ain't working for ya. Authorities robbing rides like Bonnie Clyde rob banks. Only coward ass was fight in military tanks. Throw bodies and caskets, kill bomb with cars and make guns. They pay for the bonds by taking wealth from citizen funds. They brainwashing the youth to stand up for the pledge. Cause it's one nation under God, we're like one nation under death. There's a war that threatens our freedom, and so we need to fight it. But when they kill for family members need to riot. Gather in the street, rebel with your fellow resident. Call upon Saddam to assassinate the president. It's irrelevant, the bullet, that's what's gonna kill him. See the lies in his blood when his brain starts to spill them. Cause it ain't working, no. Cause it ain't working for us. Cause it ain't working, no. Cause it ain't working for ya. Patriot Warriors.
The Blue Echo. Very cool. The reason that I'm supporting Barack Obama is because... Actually coming up a little bit. I guess you probably need to turn down the volume on the monitor there.
I should do that.
Yeah, because we experience the lovely joy that is feedback. Audio feedback.
Seemed like you needed something
Oh,
coming
yeah.
out of his head.
Audio feedback. So just tell us what.
Audio feedback. Yeah, that needs to be a little clearer, John. It's blurry. Ironing? Who's ironing?
Hi, everybody. Are we back? Do we have sound?
We do. You're
Alrighty.
on.
We were just all commenting about politics and all that, and I was just kind of discussing why I consider myself a Barack Obama supporter, and I really don't go for the whole cult of personality. I mean, it seems anybody that's made it as far in politics as he has done some sort of dirty backroom deal. He's not the Messiah.
Oh, say it isn't true.
Yeah, he's not the Messiah, but you know,
could he be the Antichrist?
I highly doubt that. But I've said this many times, but it's something I strongly believe in.
Together?
Something I very strongly believe in is that I don't want, since we've had 20 years of either a Bush or a Clinton, I don't want it to get to the point where we have another 8 years of a Clinton or something like that. I mean, I don't believe in political dynasties. I think political dynasties are un-American, fundamentally un-American.
They've not been good for us so far.
And I think it sends an awful message, just a horrible message about democracy to young people who are just getting old enough to vote. But I do not want a Republican to get the presidency again. I absolutely do not want conservatives picking the next round of Supreme Court justices. And Barack Obama is beating Hillary Clinton in fundraising. He has bigger crowds turning out to see him speak, and not only that, he's got less enemies than Hillary Clinton does. So he seems like the most likely guy. So there we go.
Well, you know what? Last night I was watching that Daily Show there.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he caught Hillary in a trap a few times for the things that she said, and I was just cracking up because one of the big things that she said, if the Democratic system was the same as the Republican system, she would have won by now. And he's like, well, that's the reason why we have another system. And it was really funny some of the things he had touched on because she's kind of putting her foot in her mouth. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I don't want her to get there either because the whole point is we need change, and she's just playing her husband's experience card.
Mm-hmm.
Really all it is.
No, I agree.
I
agree
in
on
there,
that
I know
notion.
what's going on, and so what? I mean,
and what's going on is not good, so why would we want someone who's been in there and know what's going on?
I mean, I'm not going to do... I take very seriously not wanting to see a Republican get the nomination. So if she does get the presidency, so if she does get the nomination, I will vote for her.
But she's a Republican.
Well, yeah, but I mean, she's not going to appoint the same sort of people to the Supreme Court that John McCain will. I mean, that's not the take that's going to happen. Certainly not from a social perspective. So, like I say, if she gets the nomination, I will vote for her, although I will hold out for the very real possibility of voting for a third party 4 years from now.
All right, exactly. That's actually an excellent idea.
Yes.
It is.
If it comes up to me having to vote for her or somebody else, I don't really care who it is. I don't want to vote for her.
Well, just remember that...
I don't want to help her cause...
Just remember.
I don't want to add to the dynasty.
I don't either, but like I say, I don't want a conservative appointing more Supreme Court justices because there are two guys in the Supreme Court that should be retired. They have serious health problems. Yeah, appointed for life. But I mean, there's two guys, and I can't remember the names. One is 90 years old. The other has cancer. They both, by all rights, should have retired, but they do not want Bush to pick the replacements. And I don't think there's going to be that much difference in terms of the replacements that get picked between Bush and John McCain. That's they are holding out. They were holding out for us, for all intents and purposes. So we go ahead and anybody.
Thank you.
They're doing it for us. I mean, that is the fact. That is the reality. That is the truth. And anybody who has liberal progressive values or opinion but goes ahead and votes in another way, especially in this election anyway, I don't think is thinking the whole picture through.
If we would just go ahead and get busy and impeach the current regime, then these guys could go ahead and step down, and we could take the pressure off of them. We should do that for them.
The time it would take to get an impeachment going and actually be done with the thing, we'll have a new president by then anyway.
And then who do you have? You'd have Dick Cheney coming in?
Yeah, but isn't he just making more of a
No, we do him
up
too,
in there the longer he's
simultaneous.
up there?
The double impeachment.
Oh yeah.
And what's that whole thing at the end? He can, if there was for some reason to call a war, he'd end up being able to serve longer too. Which I don't want him to be there. I mean, we should just get rid of him. If half or more than half the country can't stand the guy, get him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I do
there-
not believe that they would have the audacity to declare martial law, because, I mean, I think there'd be riots in the streets if they tried that.
Well,
It's just the point that there is a loophole, and I don't like that there is a loophole.
Right.
That he could still stay if he
Yeah.
wanted to, and being of that dynasty or
They
family
che-
of
a
war.
lot of the checkpoints have been altered or amended, which you know, like I said, we always had checkpoints that kept balance, but recently, in the past 15 years or so, a lot of the checkpoints have been amended and changed for to ensure things that those opportunities are there for current leaders that if which shouldn't be there.
Right.
That they could.
They've eroded away the balance of power.
They've eroded the way the balance of power.
Yes.
I kind of feel that I think there's an immense deterioration in the fact that public service should be something that's temporary, and then when you come in, you serve the public and you serve your constituents,
If
and
you
then you
crack-
go on.
there's a cup
You did
in
good,
the far box,
and then it's not a
clean cup.
career. It's not a career,
Right.
Hey, how are you? Good seeing
What's
you.
up, Joe?
You have an announcement or anything?
I just got a question for you.
Okay, question.
Hey, if we were to get you to help us in the studio, would Friday or Wednesday be better?
Friday or Wednesday? This next week.
The 9th or the 7th of next month. So 2 weeks, I
Okay,
believe.
Friday or Wednesday. What time?
Whatever's good for you, really.
Daytime.
If that's good for you.
On Wednesday, I could be teaching a class on Wednesday night. Other than that, I should be free.
So Wednesday in the daytime would be best?
Uh-huh.
Cool. Alright, that's
Tell
it.
us about your project. What you gonna do?
This self-help videos, like relationship counseling for my friend who's also a member here. He wrote a book on
Okay.
relationships, and he's making videos to go along with it.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
And your name? Go to TV.
Hello.
Nick.
That was Nick.
That was Nick.
Bye, Nick. Dude, was he on camera?
I think just a
His
little
back
bit.
was. He got the back of his shirt.
Yeah.
I like cameras and microphones.
Aren't they fun?
They are. They really are. And I found that I'm developing a very strange fondness and affection for microphones.
And
This
cameras.
is your fault.
Aw.
Especially the microphone thing. It's your
Microphones
fault.
are cool. I mean,
They are. They really
once
are.
you really get into the mechanics and whatnot of every single one.
Or we just think about it. I mean, just think about, how far we've come technology-wise from, huddling in the mud puddles and caves and the like. I mean, it's
All the way
absolute-
to microphones.
It's,
Well,
yeah.
it's a short time. Think about how we communicated up until the late 1800s.
Beep, 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 beep.
For how many?
Late 1800s, and then in the past short amount of time, how far we've progressed.
Right. For how many centuries did we huddle in the mud?
Yeah.
I mean,
Travel
think
by
about
horse,
how
travel by horse and wagon.
Think about
and
how
then all of a sudden,
Boom. Yeah, I know. And it's
all of a
so...
sudden we've
lifetime.
released all the carbon on the planet back into the atmosphere like it was before life crawled
and-
out of the oceans. Yes.
It's amazing. I really think that there should be a historical emphasis in education on how things used to be, because I think it's so easy. And, I was born in 1971, so of course, I grew up taking for granted just things like mankind had walked on the moon, even though it only happened a couple years before I was born. And it's so easy for young people to take for granted the technology they're born with and not have the sense of perspective of how lucky we are and how much things have changed.
well, I
You
think
could
it's
be
just
sitting in front of a
it's
radio
just so
or
rapid.
black
Yeah.
and white TV
Dramatic technological changes normally did not happen within one generation's lifespan
Right.
or multiple.
Yeah.
It was singular, where each generation had this great boom. We've had you know,
Multiple.
Even just within the
two
past 50
generations.
years.
Yeah, just in
Right.
50 years we've
Right,
had.
5-year-old technology is obsolete now.
Yeah.
I think they need to take a break for 5 minutes. We got where we need to be, and now they're making everything.
I
obsolete.
sometimes I feel that way as well because radio was
Radio.
king for the first half of the 20th century, and just like that, TV is already being outstripped by the internet.
Yeah.
TV will never be
TV.
outstripped.
And
It's always
2009,
TV.
2009,
It's all
all
TV.
TV's
The tube
gone.
is it.
HD is on its way.
2009, all
HD is
TV
on its
is
way.
gone. Now
Calling
you
in
have
the
to have cable
reinforcements.
box.
Yeah, the death of the analog signal. Didn't you have a good
That's gonna be
rant
sad
about how?
that day.
The analog single, yeah.
I'm gonna sit in front of my TV and go bye bye. You know, like,
Yeah.
sorry, you don't get any channels anymore unless I plug you in.
There's nothing in the air.
Don't you have a good rant about like how you think analog's better than digital or something?
I have a rant about why digital
Check my editing.
is just another word for devil. I did that one.
Okay, well,
Analog is in many ways superior to digital, depending on what it is you're trying to do and stuff. Yeah, but the current rant concerning the digital realm. I'm trying to look at my meters and talk at the same time. The current rant concerning the digital realm is this: the problem with our society is very similar to the problem of the kids that are in school now and they're allowed to use calculators in their math classes and stuff like that, wind up coming through.
there are some math classes in which they won't let you take the math class without a calculator.
Right.
Okay,
That's
but
what they
you
started
can go
with
you can go through a math class now, and you can miss learning how to do the math.
Actually, I just
see,
want to say there's
But what you learn how to do is operate the calculator.
experienced that myself.
But you don't actually come out understanding the meaning of the math and the function and how that works. So, but you know how to work the calculator and make it do it, and we're having the
happens when you
same
don't have a calculator?
we're having the same thing on a much larger scale. We have computers and businessmen and corporations and stuff like that are operating huge, massive computers with big programs and stuff like that, and they're getting very strong and answers from these devices that are impacting our lives in very profound ways. But they're missing the point. They're missing the point. And I always like to point out that a computer does not breathe air, and that a computer does not drink water. But a computer will make a bottom line decision, which is undisputable, that says, you can see a higher profit margin if you don't invest in cleaning the water up, and if you don't invest in having a clean chimney, if you just go ahead and dump it, the computer will tell you how undeniably your profit margin will be better. So, and you can't argue with the bottom line. You have to do that. And computers have made us so efficient and have made us so profitable that we're all almost in bankruptcy now. Okay, that's the rant. Did that seem to go along with what?
Well, yeah, that is definitely a valid point. The amazing thing about it is that the classes, there are math classes now that are basically instructions how to use this one calculator. And it's always, whatever, calculator company cut a deal with the school. So it's just all about making you buy and teaching how to learn this. Yeah. Yeah.
With the
I used to have to need the, I want to say something, TI 360.
TI 360, right? Yeah.
And I remember
do the logarithms and.
Right. Well, what happened was I went from 5th grade in one town in one school to 6th grade in the next. And when I had left 5th grade, I had the long division, long multiplication, everything. And when they switched us over, I got in the next school and they wanted to use calculators all the time. I said, but I know how to do this. And when I started doing the long division on the paper, teacher goes, "Why are you taking it so long? Why don't you just use a calculator?" I said, "Because I know it. Why should I have to use the calculator? You're going to give me a bad grade because I know how to do my math?" But yeah, it was weird. Kind of like, okay.
And it's Texas Instruments, too. It's all Texas Instruments, which in a weird way just goes ahead and reinforces, like, a weird sort of attitude I have towards Texas. Texas creeps me out. It really does.
I think
Texas
California
creeps me
scares
out.
me.
That's valid, isn't it?
I gotta go on my way.
Okay.
I'm finished. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Joe.
Tea Party and the tea.
Well, you've been here most of the time.
Southern
About-
California creeps you
I'll
out?
be back.
California creeps me out because
Shortly.
from everything down to
Shortly.
Christmas lights and pool
Okay.
chalk,
Yeah,
they
another
tell you
day
you're
or
gonna
two,
die
I
from
guess.
cancer or something.
Well, you know
It's
what
like
they say about California?
Everything.
They say that
everything.
crossing into California, they say you're crossing the Manson-Nixon line as you cross the border of California.
That's good, Manson Nixon. So what would you be if we went over there from here?
Huh?
Like what would be nicknamed if we came from over here and went there? Like I came from the north, so I'm down here. I'm a Yankee. What would
You're
you be
a
if you go
carpetbagger.
over- Carpetbagger.
Uh huh. What are you if you went from here to the north?
I don't know. I don't think the north really cares.
Oh, I
I've
see.
never heard anybody call anybody any names, so.
Oh yeah, like they don't call names in the north.
I don't think they picked on anybody from the south. They're more racial than anything. They'd be like black, white.
Well, you know, it's an interesting dynamic that, on the one hand, like, I mean, just culturally, the South is very much looked down upon by, you know, people who live in other parts of this country. I mean, there's definitely a degree of prejudice and stereotype that the South receives. But beyond that, you know, it's not like, you know, people in the North spend a lot of time mulling over the Civil War or anything like that.
Like when I came here, I really didn't pay attention to a lot of the history and whatnot.
Well, that's died out though. That's died out recently in the last 20 years or something. But you don't have to go too far. You don't have to go
Like a
too far
flamethrower.
back to find people that were still somewhat concerned with the Civil War and stuff like that. But if you go back to when I was a child, you have people who lost relatives in the Civil War and stuff like that. When was the Civil War?
17, what was it, 17?
1861 to 1865. That's right.
Thank you again, TV gods.
Yeah. Yeah. Jonathan and I
somewhere we
spit
always
that
have
out
the
almost
answer.
simultaneously. You were you had about a second ahead of me, but I had the microphone.
Right.
I
So
have
so I
microphone
was so I
and you
was so I was born in 1950. So when I was born, the Civil War had not yet been 100 years.
Not even 100 years.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So I grew up in a South that was still somewhat aware of the Civil War, you know, and if they didn't actually know people who had died in the Civil War, they had heard their parents or aunts and uncles or some of the older members of the family lament,
Right.
you know, family members and stuff that they knew that had died in the war and stuff like that. So they were more aware of it when I was young.
Kind of interesting, even though I'm from Connecticut and I'm, for all intents and purposes, far more a New Englander than a Southerner in many of my outlooks still to this day. In terms of ancestors that fought in the Civil War, I mean, all of that Civil War heritage is Southern from my mother's side. I've got a great, maybe just great, one of those. Anyway,
Extra great.
Civil War veteran who shot a carpetbagger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never heard carpetbagger until today, so.
Never heard carpetbagger?
Until today.
So what
and you
happens-
are one. And you never heard it.
I've never
until-
gone. Well, I thought that was only if I go to California.
No.
No, it's carpetbagger is a term generally used for its origins were people who after the Civil
From
War
Ohio.
came down from the north and came to the south for purposes of economic
to make their fame and
exploitation.
fortune off of the
I thought carpetbagger was strictly a political term. It was like Senator Hillary Clinton, for example, is a carpetbagger because she went to be a senator in a state that she did not live or was from.
Yeah. That's what it gets used for now, but its origins were post Civil War.
I don't know about that.
He's gonna go
I
Google
think
it.
its origins. I think
Yeah.
it's a slang term, you know, for people that
people from the
originally
north,
were
primarily
economic.
around Ohio, that came down to the south and made their new fortune off of the misfortune
Yeah.
of the Southerners and stuff. They started businesses here and stuff like that. And Southerners that had grown up here all of their life were now finding that they owed money and or had to work for Northerners that had come down here.
Well, it was a similar situation. Well, I don't remember the details, but my ancestor.
They felt somewhat like when we go into another country and then we establish bases and stay there. What's that called? They felt occupied.
Yeah.
And they were in the South. Felt occupied by the influx of Northerners that came in here after the Civil War.
I don't
see what I mean.
I don't even remember the
Why
details.
not? You guys got
but-
good weather.
The weather?
You got good weather. We're just jealous.
Oh
We want
yeah.
the weather.
Oh yeah.
Who wants to stay in the cold?
Well, I'm just trying to explain the
roots.
roots of the term
I know.
carpetbagger, and they had luggage made out of it was like carpet.
Reused,
Have you seen
recycled
those?
carpet.
Have you seen those satchels that are like
Yeah.
carpet satchels?
Yeah.
Carpetbaggers.
Now the story is I don't remember the details, but
It
supposedly
is
some
a very, very
carpetbaggers.
gaudy bag, and you are right. The term started from Northerners coming to the South during Reconstruction
Right.
to exploit everybody, and it was particularly they joined up with freed slaves
Yeah.
and the Republican Party. I don't know if you hear that.
Interesting.
You never hear about that.
I've got it.
No,
Hey,
it was,
ancestor of mine
they
shot a
called
carpetbagger.
them- They called them scalawags, which is Southern whites
Scalawags.
supporting Reconstruction.
Supporting
And
carpetbaggers.
it was Northerners, carpetbaggers, coming here to exploit the Reconstruction. A lot of probably what you would see, maybe Halliburton or other companies who are exploiting the Reconstruction of maybe Iraq or
I
Afghanistan.
see the parallels. I see the
Maybe not
parallels.
carpetbaggers. They might be more like tank guys. I don't know. Armored cache cases or whatever.
I was the one who said that.
When?
That they came down here and exploited the South
You're right.
during Reconstruction. That was Did I
But
say that?
it is now also definitely used for people who are going somewhere to gain political office too.
Hillary
But
Clinton
that
is a very good
carpetbagger.
example. Yeah.
But you are right. You're both right. That is where that
You're
term
both right.
originates from, which I did not know that.
Yeah, you're both right.
Like I say, I know that because
Yeah.
I know the term because, like I say, ancestor of mine shot a carpetbagger. It was I think it was a vengeance thing. If I remember correctly, a couple carpetbaggers killed his father-in-law because they wanted to steal his land, so he went and shot them. And the sheriff caught up with my ancestor and basically said to him, "I didn't find you. Be out of town by sundown."
Ooh.
And so he was settled somewhere else, and that's where he's buried now. So, yeah.
I see. Didn't live long there, huh? They
In a
buried him.
carpet bag.
Yeah, like he was a somewhat a young man, and had to get out of town where he shot the carpetbaggers, and then settled somewhere else and got old and died and raised a
Right,
family
and
there.
it was common in that day not to find who shot carpetbaggers.
Oh yeah, it's part of the family.
And maybe
legend
somebody
about this
needs to
guy
whisper
is
that in
exactly
Miss Clinton's ear, Mrs. Clinton's ear on her way into town. They shoot carpetbaggers there, and they
Cannot
never
believe
find
you say
them.
things like this on live TV sometimes.
Well, I mean,
Which for you
Hey,
viewers
I
at
don't think
home,
they
what
can
does this say?
regulate-
What does this tell you about what he says when the camera's not pointed at him?
That's right.
Dun, 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 dun.
there is very little of any difference. with
Yeah,
what
well,
we do.
actually, I know that. I mean,
Just a
about
little
the
more
extent of
explicit.
your brain-mouth filter is you don't let certain words slip out. You don't let the 7 deadly words the SEC slip out.
Yeah, the FCC can't say carpetbagger well yet anyway.
Well, you can say carpetbagger
You
all
can
you
say
want.
Yankee and
Uh-huh.
whatever else. Was a
That's
halfback.
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I'll tell you what, it'd be nice to see the proceedings going on, and it'd be nice to see. It'd be nice to see how if someone did whisper that in her ear, how she might be looking around in that crowd when she's giving her speech. She might. Did anybody ever see The Nervous Man? It was Don Knotts back in the day before there was ever Andy of Mayberry. Don Knotts used to be the Nervous Man, and he would be on what was the Tonight Show before Johnny Carson and all that kind of stuff. The nighttime hosts and stuff had Don Knotts on, and they would say to him, tonight we have a special guest. His occupation, he disarms bombs. And they'd say, and Don Knotts would come on, and he'd be acting like this,
shaking, right.
and they'd say, so tell us, does that make you tense? Does your job make you tense? And he'd go, nope. and he was just hilarious. And so maybe Mrs. Clinton would be like that. She'd be the nervous candidate. I'm gonna run the 420 roll. All right, look at your clock.
Don't forget.
No, it's not the 420. It's what?
Well, before you ended, we got the live studio show tonight, 9
Yeah, I did that. I did tell that.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Fine, do
Okay.
good.
All right.
Wait. Mount Dungeon tonight, 11 p.m. Secret B-sides. Watch it.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Check it out.
Good morning. Welcome to the Pleasure Saucer.
Yeah, I did that earlier, but.
Always.
So this big, I mean, he's like a big dude too. He probably weighs like 250, maybe 300 pounds. Big dude. Drank it quick. I mean, he drank a full gallon of milk quick. And
Under
then
10 minutes.
And within 30 seconds of the last sip, it was all in the trash can.
He burped and then it was gone.
History was made.
Yep.
And
But two people did this.
Yeah, no, that was the milk. That was the first one.
So who else?
Kurt did
The cinnamon challenge.
the cinnamon challenge, which is can you swallow a spoonful of cinnamon, which can kill you.
Really?
Yes.
And he
A
was
spoonful
If it like
of cinnamon?
solidifies, gets caught in your throat.
Apparently, nutmeg, cloves, and cinnamon have equal qualities. There are toxic amounts within a very small amount, a doable toxicity.
Really?
Unlike other certain substances that you could, literally ingest as long as you were alive and never.
All right, so
ever
Kurt
reach.
ate a spoonful of cinnamon.
This girl did a spoonful of cinnamon.
Oh, this girl did. Kurt
And the girl got sick.
Oh, because she
I
walked
missed
away
that
with her
part.
mouth shut and Kurt was puffing out smoke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I
Kurt.
was like, what happened to the girl?
No, the girl, they were
Turned the
like,
corner
yeah,
and walked.
she really did it. She came right out of the studio, walked
threw
right
up.
down the hallway, went right to the bathroom, and yeah. So she didn't do it she had the courtesy not to do it on television.
Did Kurt eat a spoonful too?
Yeah, he did.
He tried. He tried. He did it, but I mean, he started laughing, and then
It
he
was
was
like clouds.
sweating. He was so hot, like I mean, his face was bright red, like he was burnt. He had beads of sweat all on his forehead,
Wow.
and then he started laughing because you can't. This is too much powder. You cannot salivate enough. It will. It just.
Well, no,
it
but
just
you can.
becomes-
Can't you drink water behind it or something?
Well, that was the.
They did
that was,
afterwards.
that was the
supposed
test,
to.
though. Was could you do it
without
water?
water. Oh, I
Well, they
guess.
had him eat like 6 crackers at one time.
Yeah, they're trying to get. Can you get to the? Apparently, it's impossible to do 6 saltines and swallow 6 saltines in a minute.
Been booted.
In a minute. We're off. Look at this. Okay, hang on.
And the only one that I knew about is